All over the world, species clash in nature's savage battle of survival. From the bone-crushing jaws of the laughing scavenger to the raw, majestic power of the savannah's king, all are locked in brutal conflict. Animals fight tooth and claw to win food, territory, and rights to the bloodline. From the storm-battered shores of the Cape of Good Hope to the jagged of the Andes, there are no rules. This is Animal Fight Night. Let's watch and see. Kova stands alone in the plains, his weary eyes looking at his cubs. He was once a king who made the savannah tremble. But now age and defeat have sapped his strength. In the darkness, the hyenas move silently. They are in no hurry, just waiting. The most frightening thing is that Kova has used a weapon that no lion has ever expected. They replicate the scent of a lioness using the scent glands under their tails. The familiar scent of their brethren completely blinds Kova to the scent of the approaching enemy. He thinks his brethren are near, so he is even more wary. The hyenas used all kinds of dirty tricks to get back at Kova. And they turned Kova's past betrayal into a lethal biological weapon without him knowing. From afar, Kova watched coldly and cunningly. He signaled the pack to make loud noises to the east to distract them. Kova turned and ran towards the noise in surprise. But it was just a trap. While Kova left the cub's hiding place, the hyenas silently circled around behind, getting closer and closer to the two children. Kova began to sense something was wrong. His heart was pounding. His breathing was rapid. He realized he had made a fatal mistake. He doubted himself. Should he run to save his cubs or continue chasing the fake shadow his enemy had just created? second of hesitation could mean the end of everything in animal fight. Realizing he had been tricked, Kova turned and rushed back like a whirlwind. He saw Maya, the weakest cub, surrounded by 3 hyenas. Without time to think, Kova rushed straight into the middle of the pack, using his whole body to shield Maya. Leo, the stronger cub, was now left alone in the enemy encirclement. He had no time to think. He chose to save the nearest one. His body was covered with old wounds, his legs trembling with exhaustion. But the moment the 5 hyenas attacked, Kova suddenly let out a terrifying roar that lasted exactly 7 seconds. The frequency was so low that it shook the skulls of the hyenas, causing them to freeze in pain. This was the last sound weapon of the old lion. Only appearing when a male was almost exhausted but still had the will to protect his cub until his last breath. It was those precious 7 seconds that created the gap for Maya to escape. Kova was not fighting for his life, he was fighting for at least one cub to survive in an animal fight. But Kova was no longer fighting alone. His last distress call was heard by the female lions. They ran to him. They were no longer angry, only love and instinct to protect their own kind. Kova led the way, deliberately running slowly to lure the hyenas to chase him into a field full of bushes and thorns. Where the terrain was completely favorable to the lions. The hyenas eagerly charged after, thinking that victory was within reach. but they did not know that they were running straight into a fatal trap. One by one, they began to fall back because of fatigue, because they slipped, because they were unfamiliar with the terrain. The lionesses coordinated perfectly, cutting off their tails, surrounding, attacking from all sides. For the first time, the hyenas' defeated screams rang out instead of terrifying laughter. The hyenas lay motionless, groaning in pain. Kova stood tall, his eyes shining with pride again. Maya and Leo ran to their father. The lionesses stood in a protective circle. Today, the steppe witnessed an old king no longer fighting for the throne, but fighting for the children he loved the most. And that was the greatest power that no enemy could defeat. After this animal fight, Kova understands that scent can be a decisive factor in identifying invaders and determining battle strategies. However, relying on only one sense is not enough. It is necessary to rely on vigilance and the ability to distinguish signs of danger in the surrounding environment. In life, we can also be deceived by external factors, misinformation or inaccurate feelings. We need to train the ability to accurately distinguish between truth and falsehood in a world full of deception. Vigilance and the ability to analyze situations are important factors to help us overcome challenges. The hyenas will return, smarter and more cunning. Are Kova and his pack ready? Register now to follow the next chapter of this animal fight.